Other countries are starting to catch up. We need to change some things.
Canada is the only top 10 FIFA ranked nation that doesn't have a women's domestic league.
Canada's women's national team wants to keep competing on the world stage, we need a pro league. The women's game initially grew through investment in the national teams, and that's why Canada has been able to compete, but that's shifted. Over the last 5, 6, 7 years, all the investment is going into the professional game, and that's happening everywhere, the US, Mexico, Australia, England, Spain, I can keep going. And you see countries like England and Spain where they've really invested heavily in the last 6 years. That's paying off at the national team level. For us to keep competing, we have to have a strong pro league. Because we have the 3rd largest player pool in the world, but so many of those players drop out when they're in their teens because there's not opportunities. So for the soccer side, it's essential. It's about coaching opportunities, referee opportunities, the medical side of the game and all those jobs. It's about growing the entire professional soccer industry in this country. You know, I spent my career much like everyone from my generation of soccer. We leave after high school, we go through university in the United States, and then we play pro either in Europe or the US. And it's only when you retire do you get to come home and build a life in Canada and work here. But even then, we retire and there's no jobs for us, and that's what we're changing. That's a big part of what we're doing so that Canadian women can work in professional sport in Canada. I think giving the opportunity to work in Canada, it changes everything. We get to have roots here instead of not having roots for a decade or two as we're playing abroad. We get to build lives here, build families here instead of putting all that on pause for so many years. And we get to keep our expertise in Canada. We're so talented on the field, off the field, and we need to keep more of those incredible women in our country. Out of 32 countries in this summer's Women's World Cup, it was only Haiti and Canada that don't have a women's league of their own. We're behind the rest of the world. Women's professional soccer is a new industry. It's growing quickly. It's the fastest growing area of sport. This is an industry that's really only been around since the 90s, and you see in countries like Mexico, like England, really leagues that only professionalized about 5 years ago, that as soon as you put investment in, as soon as you put the product on screens for people to watch, the audience grows faster and faster. In Canada, we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this for years. We've been watching the women's national team succeed for years. The best role models are the ones you can see. We think it's normal in Canada that we don't have women's pro sports because we haven't had women's pro sports. But you see the impact that even the women's national team has on young girls and boys who grow up watching athletes on TV that aren't just men. And that's gonna shift more and more, and future generations are gonna think it's just as normal for a woman to play pro sports as it is a man. We know the impact that sport has on people. And we also know that while girls and boys enter sport at the same rates in Canada, we know that girls drop out at 3 times the rates as boys. And that has to do with a lack of pathways, a lack of role models, because you can't be what you can't see. And this league is impacting all of that. It does motivate me to think of opening day in 2025. It is going to be a piece of Canadian history to have the first women's pro game. We put in the investment it deserves, and if you build it, they will come. And there's only one chance to launch women's pro soccer in Canada, and we plan to do it right. And we're going big or going home.